Petersburg, Florida. We are ready for a full day of bowl activities, and here in St. Pete, the cheerleaders already have done their lifting, and the big fellas, they're sending splashdowns from here to all the way across the bay. It's time for football as we start this wonderful day with the St. Pete Bowl. It's Conference USA versus the American. Marshall bowling once again. UConn back in the postseason for the first time since the 2011 Fiesta Bowl as the helmets get dropped down from above here in St. Pete. From field level inside the Trop and down below the Ray Tank. Welcome everybody to St. Pete as we get ready for the St. Pete Bowl. Tom Hart alongside Anthony Beck. This is the first of 4 bowl games today on the ESPN family of networks. A great day of football from Yankee Stadium to the Cotton Bowl, from Shreveport to Santa Clara, and this should be a good one as well.
And how about Shreveport? Head coach Frank Beamer out of Virginia Tech, 29 straight seasons, 23 straight bowl games. Tremendous way for him to go out.
We'll see great quarterbacks all day throughout college football today, and that's what they're used to here at Marshall. A fantastic history of quarterbacks playing well in the postseason. We start, of course, with Byron Leftwich, 2001 GMAC Bowl, perhaps the greatest comeback in college football postseason history. Chad Pennington, all he did was lead them to the FCS National Championship game, and then 2 years later, the first bowl win in Marshall history. And then Rakeem Cato, all he did was set an NCAA record with his 48th consecutive game with a touchdown pass in last year's bowl win. That brings us to today. Chase Litton, their freshman quarterback, got off to a better start than any of those 3 Marshall legends.
6'6" in stature, huge physical specimen on the football field. He's got a strong arm, and he's been efficient, not turning the ball over. 22 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. It'll be key against this veteran-laden UConn defense.
For more on Chase Litton and his homecoming, let's send you across the field to Tiffany Green.
Marshall head coach Doc Holliday ended Chase Litton's recruiting season with the catchphrase, "Find home." Now, after several ups and downs during that process, the coach made a connection with the talented QB from here in Tampa. Now, more than a year later, Litton has done just that, found his way back home. He threw for more than 8,000 yards in high school, not too far from here, about 45 minutes from the Trop. Today is the biggest homecoming game of them all of his playing career, as he is playing in front of his parents and 2 brothers that are sitting here in the stands today.
Tiffany, thank you, and he's got a challenge in front of him. The UConn defense, top 10 in the country in interceptions.
Jamar Summers, remember this guy, number 21. He's a lockdown corner, and the one thing I love about him is his physicality at the line of scrimmage. He's going to get up in your face here against a tight end. He's going to jam him up, press him to the outside, and the biggest thing here is getting him outside of that 5-yard box from the sideline to create and take away that space. And as he goes up to the sideline, he gets his head around, and he's able to bring the ball in, find it in the air. To me, he's a big-time NFL prospect. Only a sophomore, Tom. Should be an exciting matchup with these Marshall wide receivers.
It's the first ever meeting between Marshall and UConn. Bob Diaco, the second-year head coach, has turned it around in a quick way. Just 2-10 last year, 6-6 this season for Connecticut. And on the other side, Doc Holliday for Marshall. Got him playing once again, and we are underway from St. Pete. Arkell Newsom will watch this one go over his head. Marshall won the toss, but elected to defer. And so we get our first look at UConn quarterback Bryant Sheriff's back from injury. He was knocked out in the Houston game 2 games ago, didn't play against Temple. He's been a key for UConn this season.
Big-time threat, pass and run. His numbers aren't huge, but the element of the run is big in this offense as they're going to try to go downhill. He did have a big passing game this year, but they're going to try to hand the ball off time and get in between those tackles.
That game against South Florida, he was the first quarterback in school history to pass for 300 and 1 for 100 in the same game. Redshirt sophomore from Jefferson, Georgia. He's a North Carolina State transfer. And he's got Arkell Newsom in the backfield behind him. Run-heavy offense, and they start with Newsom. He's having a tough time finding room on the right side, and Newsom goes backwards for a yard. Dontre Tyler with the tackle. Let's meet the impact players.
Yeah, Arkell Newsom, we already talked about him. He's a threat now, running and catching. Second on the team with 40 receptions. Noel Thomas at wide receivers, their big play guy on the outside. Evan McKelvey, the linebacker for Marshall, big-time player, defensive player of the year in the Conference USA. And Tyndall on the outside as a corner will bring pressure to this offense.
This is not a UConn offense which puts a lot of points on the board. Only 17.8 a game. That's 118th in the country, so they need to value every possession. according to their coaches. Josh Mariner now in at tailback. They give it to Newsome, though, on right side. A little bit of room for Newsome, and finally upended after a gain of 9 by Kendall Gant.
Tight ends are big in this offense, and they're going to try to get on the edge and block Marshall up. They're not a big defensive line for Marshall, undersized as far as weight. They're going to try to get that vertical run game and try to knock them off the football to get big yards.
So 3rd and 2 for UConn on this opening drive. Newsome is the back. Popped in the backfield and dropped by Jarquez Samuel. Big hit, and UConn will have to punt it away.
We talked about not having the size, but they got the speed, and Samuels is a guy that can adjust himself, move into different gaps, and see here, just beats the guard one-on-one and makes a big tackle in the backfield. That's a presence, a strong play early on for this Marshall defense.
And one of the strengths for Marshall comes in the punt return game, and DeAndre Reeves, Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Year. Justin Wayne will kick it away to him. Reeves takes a fair catch at the 30, and a knee there. 39-yard punt and no return. A freshman from Tampa out of Wharton High School, Chase Litton is the starting quarterback for Marshall since game 3.
6'6", big play quarterback in stature, and he's got a live arm, Tom. He's going to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Today will be key against these secondary players of UConn's defense.
Against Norfolk State, Litton was the first freshman quarterback in school history with 4 touchdown passes in his first start. Threw for 270 yards after relieving an injured and ineffective Michael Birdsong in game 3. Hylik Foster is in the backfield for Marshall. First opportunity as Ryan Juracek motions. Runs right into the back of Juracek and able only to find a yard perhaps. And that'll bring up 2nd and 9 for Marshall. It should be noted that Hylik Foster getting the start today at tailback, but there's a very good chance that we see injured Devin Johnson on the field. The senior has been out of action for 3 months. They're going to try to work him into the lineup today. If his back can handle it, maybe he can help Marshall out offensively. He's still their leading rusher, despite the fact that he's missed more than half the season. A little play action, and Litton looking deep. He's got a man, and it's a first down. DeAndre Reeves into UConn territory, gain of 21.
You see the escapability to get outside the pocket by Litton and to get the ball on target and his most explosive receiver in DeAndre Reeves for a big play.
Marshall wants to be up-tempo. They haven't been as effective this season as they were the last couple with Rakeem Cato and company. But the playbook has grown for Chase Litton. Back to the run game now, and a powerful run straight ahead for Foster, the sophomore from Gaffney, South Carolina. Marquise Van with the stop.
We talked about that playbook. It's actually more expanded than Rakeem Cato started his true freshman year. They said he's really picked up a lot of the formations, a lot of the different reads. It's just about experience, getting the reps, and now maturity at the quarterback position.
It has grown so much because in his first start against Norfolk State, there are only 36 plays in the playbook for Chase Litton. They added 4 to 6 plays every week, so that has tripled now for this postseason start. To the ground game again, and a little bit of run room for Foster. That's going to set up 3rd and about 3. Julian Campani with the stop. Here's a look at our impact players once again with Marshall on offense.
We just saw number 19, Reeves, explosive receiver, also in special teams. The tight end, Ryan Juracek. He's a red zone target, 8 touchdowns lead this team. Defense, Junior Joseph at the linebacker position has to make big plays and tackles, and we talked about Summers being a lockdown corner.
So 3rd and 3, play action again, no pressure, lets it go deep, but overthrew Reeves. Place kicking has been a major issue for Marshall this season, and they'll likely bring on the punt team here.
Yeah, UConn's defense, very stout up front, 3 defensive linemen, 300 pounds or more. But they're going to be a 2-gap defense. It's going to be tough to get those short yardage runs in. Good decision here by Doc. Just feel out this defense of UConn.
This is Tyler Williams to punt it away. Arkel Newsome, Nick Vital inside the 10. And he lets it go. It'll check up there on this turf. And a great punt will back UConn up. They'll be inside their 10 after that 33-yarder from Tyler Williams. A field position game here early. Both offenses have had a crack at it. Nothing to show for it here in the first quarter from St. Pete. Let's take a look at preparing for Marshall, brought to you by Rain-X.
We already talked about attack downhill. They want to get the ball down in between the tackles, push back those light defensive linemen, disguise coverages against a true freshman quarterback in the last series, and discipline on kickoff coverage. DeAndre Reeves, we talked about him for Marshall, can take back a kickoff return or a punt return anytime in this game.
Bryant Sheriffs making his first start since a Houston game a few weeks ago. Hands it off to Arkell Newsome. And Newsome gets twisted down at the 15 after a gain of 6. Kendall Gant with another stop for Marshall.
And that's where Sheriffs comes in with that read option game on that defensive end, trying to sell it, get him off kilter. Whether he can run it or keep the ball himself will be dangerous in this game.
A little odd about Marshall starting that defensive series in a nickel package, and we've seen that a couple times already today against a run-heavy team in UConn.
Well, you know, they got a lot of speed on this team, and they trust their tacklers. They're going to keep it big on the outside, try to match up with their speed in this game.
They go a little bit bigger now. Ricardo Williams comes in, extra defensive lineman, and they get pressure on Sheriffs and drop him. It's Steve Dillon this time. Loss of 5.
Steve Dillon doesn't bite on the fake here, and he's the read option player. They're trying to get him out of space. He just comes up the field and makes a tackle right here. Doesn't follow any of the backs coming across the field. Huge play, TFL. Tough position right now for this offense, 3rd and long with a lack of pass presence.
They've started the same 5 on the offensive line all 12 games, but 35 sacks allowed by UConn this season through 12 games. 3rd down 9 for Bryant Sheriffs. Bob Diaco's team trying to make something happen early. Sheriffs steps up over the middle, almost picked. Evan McKelvey, the 6th-year senior, Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year, was right there.
He's a young player that in space, he's very versatile. He's a lighter linebacker, not an NFL body, but he can cover in the pass game, just staying at home in the middle of the field, reading quarterback's eyes, almost gets the interception.
Another punt for Justin Wayne. DeAndre Reeves didn't have an opportunity first time. He stands at midfield. Wayne punting from foul territory on the 3rd base side. Reeves on the run. First man misses. Trying to find a seam. DeAndre Reeves going the wrong way. Here he is upfield looking for a block. And Reeves takes it inside the 20 to set Marshall up for great field position. He went across 2 bridges and a bay to get back. 36-yard punt, 26-yard return.
You're right. I mean, this is a young man that's explosive. And we talked about him being a guy that can take back a kick at any point in this football game. Does a tremendous job to beat you with his speed. You see the explosion. You got to be in your lanes and tackle this guy or he's going to break off big runs.
You can see he was kind of itching to make something happen after that first fair catch. The question is, how durable will he be? And they give it to him. First opportunity. Johnson takes it straight ahead. That's his style of running. But suffering a back injury months ago. We'll see if he can hold up. It's a gain of 4. Marquise Band with the stop.
You see that power getting downhill. He's a former hybrid tight end for this team, so he's been a player that's taken a lot of beating over the last couple of years, but they definitely miss him as the workhorse of this offense.
He was a Doak Walker Award semifinalist, all Conference USA first-team selection last season with 1,000-yard games. 2nd down and 6. Marshall, remember, great field position thanks to the punt return by DeAndre Reeves. Play action, Litton over the middle, lob tied in, touchdown! Ryan Juracek, and Marshall's on the board. Ninth receiving touchdown of the season for Ryan Juracek.
Big-time red zone target, huge play. He's going to try to fake out the defense, come across underneath the field there. He's going to hit the middle seam. Chase Litton does a nice job getting the ball up high, dropping it in.
Nick Smith on for the extra point. He boots it through. That was a quick one. 2 plays. The cover just 20 yards in only 49 seconds needed for Marshall to take a 7-0 lead, thanks to the great field position afforded by Jondre Reeves and Litton with his 23rd touchdown pass. And now so Bryant Sheriff's under center here for UConn. Without him, for the final 3 quarters of Houston and then the Temple game, they had to reinvent themselves a little bit. They tried to get more guys involved in the quarterback run game. That meant Noel Thomas. That meant Arkel Newsome. That meant a little bit of Garrett Anderson, too. We haven't seen any of that yet today.
And it puts a lot of stress on their defense not to get this game out of hand. You see how quickly Marshall scored. So it's going to be important for this offense to stay on schedule and get a drive together.
And they hand it off on the jet sweep to Josh Mariner. There they are trying to find somebody else involved in the run game, but he can only find 2 on the edge.
We've already seen multiple series now. They're loading up the left and the right side of this offensive line with multiple tight ends and fullbacks. They want to get to the outside edges. They feel like they have a strength there with some of their undersized defensive linemen.
The offensive coordinator is Frank Verducci, first year in that role for Bob Diaco. Well-traveled coach, professional and collegiate ranks. He was the offensive line coach for those great Cowboys teams that paved the way for Emmitt Smith. They go with the jet sweep again, once again to Mariner, and he takes it to the marker. We'll see where the spot is. Devontae Tyler with the stop, and he's going to be short of the first down by about a football.
Again, same play, just trying to get it to the outside, a little deception. Marshall defense gets sucked in a little bit, and Corey Tyndall, a very good tackling cornerback, has to make a stop.
3rd and short, Sheriff's under center. Quarterback sneak, and he got a 1.5 yards. Fresh set of downs for UConn. It's their first down of the morning.
And that's where that strength is. They want to get in those short down and distances, get that push up front, try to establish something. You've got to continue to move the chains and keep this Marshall offense off the field.
Sheriffs was back healthy. He practiced towards the end of preparation for Temple. He was medically cleared to play against the Owls, but did not see action. They fake the jet sweep. Sheriffs to the air, finds his tight end, and incomplete. Had it on the hands, but they couldn't squeeze it. Steve Hashemi, a backup left guard, seeing time at tight end here.
And he's just going to leak outside up the seam. Marshall defense really worried about that outside run game. You got to pull that in. But he is an offensive lineman, Tom.
6'6", 286. 2nd and 10 now. Ron Johnson at tailback for the first time. Sheriffs goes to the tight end again, and this one falls for a first time. This is their traditional tight end, Alec Bloom. Gain of 11.
Again, that's going to be the open area for this offense. They're going to have to make plays. 6'6" tight ends, 6'7" tight ends. They're young players, but Bloom and a couple of these other guys are going to be expected to make plays and be the quarterback's best friend.
Marshall has been very good against the pass this season. #1 in the country in passes defended, 1st in pass breakups. And their interceptions playing a role, being top 10 in turnovers gained with 27. They motion Newsome out. Sheriffs on the design quarterback draw. Couldn't make it past the line of scrimmage. Jarquez Samuel there in the front 4 for Marshall, having a strong start. Doc Holliday, the head coach for Marshall. He's a West Virginia guy. One of 23 FBS head coaches hired prior to 2010. Only 4 of them remain. Jimbo Fisher, Brian Kelly, and Todd Berry at Louisiana Monroe.
A great run right now for Doc, done a tremendous job. He was at West Virginia, a receivers coach when I was there in the late 90s, been coaching a long time. One of the all-time best Florida recruiters to start at the coaching position.
Sheriffs again with the draw. Fights his way inside the 45. That big old line trying to move the pile, and a rugby scrum ends with Devontae Tyler making the stop. Well, there's not just a couple guys from those old WVU teams in the house today. We got a handful of them.
Yeah.
Bill Legg, Where's my guy? Spot shot of there. You couldn't quite make the front row, but you were close to it.
The best looking guy in the picture by far. I'll tell you, those were some good years, and we talked about Doc Holliday and Coach Legg, two young, innovative assistant coaches that really have built themselves up.
Sheriff's quarterback sneak will pick up the first down. I asked Bill Legg, who's the best tight end you ever coached this week? He said, that's a great question. I'm going to go with some no-name guy from Eastern Illinois who I can't even remember. Yeah, he just threw you right under that bus.
Yeah, you're right. He knows deep down inside. He just didn't want to give me the glory, but he knows who led the charge on the outside for him at the tight end position.
Well, the quarterback position starting to get it going for UConn. That quarterback run game moving the chains a couple times. They have gone big. Hashemi will line up as a tight end on the left side and now motion back to the right. Sheriffs has it and gets popped. Another positive play as he picks up 6. There's not a whole lot of flash to this UConn offense. It is what it is.
You're right. Old school pro style attack. Coach Verducci definitely brings a system that's not common in college football. You did see him spread it out a bit, but there were quarterback runs. It's interesting to see the movable pieces in the tight end position. The one piece that is moving is that offensive tackle and a tight end number. So they are using these guys. They're going to move them around and try to get the edges secured when they run the football.
This will be the 10th play of the drive for UConn. Sheriffs, quarterback draw again. And he's able to stay on his feet and take it inside the 30. Another first down. DJ Hunter with a stop gain of 10 for Sheriffs.
The Sherry, the center, does a nice job of getting the linebacker in the middle of the field blocked. And to me, like we talked about, when they do spread it out and there's nobody in the backfield, look for a quarterback run. Right now, that's twice on this series. Been a productive down and distance for the quarterback.
Mariner in motion. They give it to him on the sweep. And he's able to find a couple yards where there was nothing. Ryan B., the redshirt freshman from Ashland, Ohio, ran him out of bounds. Gain of 2.
Not a lot of trickery in this offense, right? 3 times we've seen the jet sweep come across, try to get to the outside. They're really, truly going to tell their guys, go block them up, and if we can get the defenders blocked, we can make some plays. Been the best drive of the game so far for UConn.
They have a great receiver, Noel Thomas, junior from Norwalk, Connecticut, who has 54 catches this year. Has yet to get involved in the offense. He's at the bottom of your screen. Now a screen play to Newsome. Plenty of blocking. And Newsome takes it inside the 10. A rip of 17. Evan McKelvey finally brings him down.
It's number 2 on the team in catches. He's a force in the screen game. You see all the defensive linemen come up to the field, and they get up and get their blocks, and he's got a lot of open space. Big, huge play for this offense right now that's wearing down this Marshall defense. You see the substitutions, Tom. These big guys in the middle need their breaks. UConn putting together a nice long drive, and what it does do is keep this Marshall offense off the field.
It's 1st and goal now. Here's Ron Johnson trying to win the edge. He's in. Touchdown UConn on a Ron Johnson run from 8 yards out. Graham Stewart, a linebacker, was out there blocking for him.
How about that? Asking other players to come in and make big blocks for you. Gets onto the corner, and you see that speed by Ron Johnson. A nice mix-up in the backfield with Newsome. Gets himself a touchdown.
Bobby Puyol on to attempt the extra point. Tim Boyle is the holder. And he bangs it through. We're tied with 1:51 to go in the first quarter.
You know, there's a lot to play for UConn. You got a chance to be over 500 for the first time in a long time. Coach Diaco's done a nice job of really setting the pace for this team. So there's a lot to play for. And Marshall, you know, this is a football team that is not used to losing many games. 3 games. When I talked to Doc Holliday, he was kind of upset about that, Tom. This is a team that's dominated the Conference USA over the past couple of years and really has led the charge. And they want to lead this season with a big win, 10 possibly after this game.
They had a big opportunity against Western Kentucky a couple of weeks ago to win the division. With the win, they weren't in that game. Reeves will take a knee. Hyleek Foster back at tailback for Marshall. We saw Devin Johnson on the last possession for the Thundering Herd. It was just a 2-possession drive. Different field position here. Litton lets it go on an out route. That's complete to Devontae Allen. A lot of weapons for Chase Litton to choose from.
He really does. A lot of athletic receivers get the ball out of his hand quickly, and we talked about that. It's a race for space. You got to be able to get off your spot and tackle these receivers and don't give up big plays.
Chase Litton threw for 2,300 yards this season. He's thrown 23 touchdown passes against 7 interceptions. Hands it off to Foster. Hyleek Foster with a first down run. Gain of 6. Obi Melifonwu and Andrew Adams, the safeties, up to make this stop for UConn.
And when you have 5 in the box, Tom, that's the big thing. You run the football. They spread out these linebackers. They're going to keep Graham Stewart on the outside and expand him when you have the numbers to block him up front. That'll create big run games for this Marshall offense.
It was not expected to be a high-scoring game, and it isn't here early on. UConn and Marshall have traded touchdowns here at the St. Pete Bowl, and we move on to the second quarter after this. Welcome back to St. Pete from Tropicana Field. It's been beautiful here all week. It's about 30 degrees warmer this morning here in St. Pete than it is in Storrs, Connecticut, a little bit warmer than it is in Huntington, West Virginia. 9-3 Marshall, 6-6 UConn as we get set to start the second quarter. Tom Hart, Anthony Beck, Tiffany Green. Chase Litton, the Tampa native, back on the field. Devin Johnson is behind him for the second series today. Litton out of Wharton High School in Tampa. Circuitous route to finally get to Huntington. Johnson straight ahead, lowers his shoulder and is able to rumble his way to 5. Chase Litton initially didn't sign with anybody on National Signing Day. His senior year of high school, he was committed to USF, changed his mind late, and he just wasn't pleased, he said, with the offers he was getting. He said, maybe I thought I was a little better than I was. It was a wake-up call when he didn't have an offer he wanted. So he sat out what would have been that fall semester, enrolled at Marshall the next spring, and has earned the playing time and the starting job in the 3rd game of his freshman season. Chase Litton gives it to Foster. Sneaks through. He's got a first down. Somehow he slipped through. Finally, Melifonwu brought him to the turf after a gain of 14.
Dowry does a nice job, the right guard, of making a key block. But you see that squirtingness out of him as a running back, former wide receiver, can get through the hole quickly. He's got nice speed, and a little guy hard to tackle in this defense.
Is labeled by the coaches as the fastest running back in the Herd stable, leading the way with 5 yards a carry on 6 carries to start this game. Same play, different result, maybe a yard. Michael Myers with the stop up the middle.
He plays like Michael Myers.
Yes.
In Halloween. You see these guys big up front. They really do chew up the body of the O-lineman. See a lot of pulling early, trying to get these guys out of their gaps that they're trying to protect. Nice stop by UConn's defense.
Litton scanning the field, finds his man for a first down. Emmanuel Byrd, gain of 15.
Really good with his eyes down the field. When you roll out, you get multiple receivers in your vision. He finds the movable piece at the tight end position, Emmanuel Byrd, who stepped in off the outside and makes a big catch.
This will be the 8th play of the drive for Marshall. They're not moving with the same tempo that we've seen over the course of the season. And, of course, last year with Rakeem Cato at quarterback. UConn shows blitz. Here it comes. He takes a shot and launches one to the wall. Devontae Allen, the intended receiver. Pressure came from Cameron Stapleton.
Talk about Chase's size, 6'6", but he's light. He's only 205 pounds. He's going to mature over the years or put some of that weight gain on, but he's going to be a deadly guy. And you see the movability, the escapability that they use him. That's one of the features I think that's been key for his success early in the season.
He's a great high school basketball player. Tore up the AAU circuit in between tearing up 7-on-7 drills in the football offseason. 2nd down and 10. Litton sets his feet. Strong arm. Hanging a U-turn is Reeves. And he's inside the 10 for the 1st down.
And that's a great point. He does get to set his feet. But Reeves is going to come underneath. They're going to have an outside post route. And he's got one-on-one with the inside defender. Beats him wide open in space. That's a tough matchup with Melifonwu, number 20, the strong safety, being a bigger, longer, strong safety player.
So they mark it just outside the 10. A 1st down available inside the 1 for Marshall. Chase Litton changing it up. Play clock at 3. Play action, all day to throw, incomplete. Aiming for Deontay McManus. 2nd and 10.
Tight window to throw. 2 defenders there. Got to be a big chance to make that target. He wants that penalty on this play. It was close all over him, but you see the arm strength that this young quarterback has.
He was showing our white hat just exactly where the contact game. He gave Kevin Marr a little bear hug. Devin Johnson trying to find some room. It was funny talking to coaches about what they expect from Chase Litton today. Back home, playing in his home state, just a bridge across from where he grew up, that they knew that he was going to have to deal with some emotion. So they told him succinctly, we need you to be a Marshall guy today. Tomorrow, be a Tampa guy. Today, be a Marshall guy.
Yeah, and you know, I can remember coming home playing against Temple when I was at West Virginia, and those emotions out there. You know, be in front of your family and friends. He's probably got 50 family and friends at the game today watching him, so you have to control and be composed, and he's doing a good job of that early.
Now 3rd and 7. Quick hitter to the slant. Stopped inside the 5 is Deontay McManus. So that'll set up something really interesting. The kicking game has been a hot mess for Marshall all season. Nick Smith started 12 for 12. He was a Lou Groza semifinalist. Since then, just 3 of his last 9. But this about the length of an extra point, and he's been perfect from there. This will be a 20-yarder. He's 47 of 47 on extra points. Tyler Williams is the holder. Able to knock it through, and so Marshall extends its lead on a 20-yard field goal. Doc Holliday happy with the way this thing has started thus far. His team's in front here by the beach. Well, Marshall with a 10-7 lead on UConn with 8:05 to go in the 2nd quarter. Tom Hart, Anthony Beck, glad you're with us today. No return for Newsom. So we've seen UConn's offense after a few possessions thus far today, Anthony, be very predictable, I think, in some ways. What can they do off of that to take some chances downfield?
Well, I think you're right. They're going to have to get the ball into their big playmakers' hands, and Noel Thomas, number 5, and what Coach Verducci talked about, underutilized this year. They got to find ways to get him the ball.
He's matched up with Keith Baxter. They'll keep it on the ground with Newsom, and Newsom able to turn it upfield. Big run and some cleanup blocks at the end of that one by Brendan Veshery. Pickup of 9.
Newsom's earning his money today. He's getting the ball pretty much 90% of the time for this offense. You see him split out. He'll be in the backfield. A lot of versatility with him being number 2 in receptions also from this football team.
With guys out of position against Temple, coaches said, listen, we were playing a left-handed game plan that day. We were trying to do everything we could to find points. More traditional today. Sheriffs takes off. Sheriff's able to make it close, and that'll bring up third and short. Kendall Gant with a stop. There's a gain of 7. A great running quarterback, Bryant Sheriffs.
And you see, if you get him in space, it's one-on-one with the strong safety. He's quick enough and good enough to make him miss. Great open field tackle by Gant. Again, this is where the size up front on the undermanned, undersized defensive line of Marshall. They need to get good push here and find a way to make a stop if they run the ball in between the tackles.
They've got Josh Mariner at running back in this set. They fake the end around. Sheriffs to take off, and he is brought down just shy of the marker. Armand Daniel there to read the play and bring him down.
And, you know, he missed number 85, true freshman McLean, wide open. He decides to keep the ball and get it with his legs. And about good job shedding the tackle. Tyler does an excellent job of getting inside, making that stop and that tackle.
Reeves waves everybody off, and it takes a UConn hop. Reeves caught between a rock and a hard place. Had no chance to field that one. It turns into a 54-yard punt for Justin Wayne. Marshall will take the snap at its own 4-yard line. Beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. We continue with the St. Pete Bowl after this. Plenty of activities surrounding this bowl, including the Battle of the Bands, the tug-of-war contest, and something that appeals to Anthony and I most of all, a cupcake eating contest.
I definitely could have placed in that event if I went down to the beach. And there were mini cupcakes. I could have broke the record on that.
Well, that's the deal, right? I mean, mini cupcakes. When do you stop?
You don't. You just keep going.
Under 5 to go in the half. Chase Litton will set up with the ball on the third base line. Play action out of the end zone. Strong throw, wide open is Devontae Allen. Didn't have his heels down in the first quarter opportunity. He does there, and it's a gain of 14.
And Foster, the tailback, does a nice job of picking up the linebacker in the middle on that blitz to give Chase the time he needed to get that ball outside.
Devin Johnson straight ahead. And he rips off a 9-yard gain on first down.
Well, Devin Johnson hasn't been playing a lot of games. They list him at 244. He might be 250, 255. Just a big body back, hard to bring down, breaks a lot of tackles. And anytime he can get 9 yards on first downtown, that's huge for your offense.
Interesting thing about Johnson, not only being out so much with the back injury, but this week at bull practice saw very limited contact. And he's a big physical back that plays off that contact. Back to Johnson. Able to pick up the first, just shy of midfield. Marshall's tempo is something that they've kind of toyed with this half. They started once and it kind of backed off. Already a couple minutes into this drive as it continues, they're in no big rush, but still effective.
And I think that favors UConn when you look at this team. Not a very good offense for UConn. But for Marshall, if they do speed this up, they put strain. But the one thing is, on the knock on that is 3 and outs, and that'll be huge.
Linton goes deep into coverage, and it's batted away. Javon Williams all over Justin Hunt.
When you talk about hits on quarterbacks, right now, Chase Litton's getting hit as he's throwing the football, puts the ball in a solid position for his receiver to make the catch. But you talked about the defensive backs, the corners. Williams, huge play, knocking this down, tracking footballs. I love to see corners go up and knock footballs down, turn their head back, and find it in the air.
Michael Myers was a guy who delivered the hit on Litton after he got the ball out. Sebastian Johansson, his left guard, turned around, had a word with him. O-line holds up here, gets rid of it quickly. They go to that out route again. DeAndre Reeves steps out of bounds after a gain of 7.
Reeves has been the target right now. The hot hand for Chase Litton. Quick passes, that was a hitch route on the outside. That flood route we've seen, that deep out route about 10 to 12 yards, multiple times. And it's like Michael Birdsong's coming into the game.
Michael Birdsong, who started the first 2 games of the season for Marshall, is only 4 for 11 for 25 yards over his last 3 appearances since game 2 of the season, when he was injured and ineffective against Ohio. 3rd and 3. Birdsong will take it himself. He's got a first down. So Birdsong asked to run the football since Litton's been so banged up, you assume, and able to convert.
And Dowery, the right guard, again pulling, makes a nice block, and he's really like an extra big back, almost like a Devin Johnson at 245 pounds. Easily gets downhill and moves the chain.
Birdsong hasn't thrown it yet. He will here, and he dumps it incomplete with 12 seconds left on the clock.
And you see the inaccuracy at the quarterback position for him. Hasn't taken a lot of snaps. Very interesting reasons why Chase Litton isn't in the game. You have a first down, the clock's ticking, and you're not being aggressive when you have a lead and you're in the red zone.
And a timeout remaining for Marshall. Now 10 seconds left. Maybe take one shot here. I mean, I doubt this is a team that's going to attempt a long field goal in this situation.
Yeah, this has been a poorly planned series, in my opinion, with this offense when you've got these dynamic receivers on the outside.
It would be a 45-yard field goal if they find nothing here. Litton pressured, steps up, checks down over the middle, complete to the tight end. Juracek, 5 on the clock, timeout taken. It'll be 3 by the time it finally stops, and they're going to bring the kicking team on. It's a long drive for Marshall.
Both teams have no timeouts left, so we'll get a kick here on this chance.
Plenty of leg on the kick, and good. So Nick Smith, 2 field goals in the first half from 20 and 28, and it caps an 85-yard, 4:57 drive. Marshall will receive the second half kickoff. They lead 13-7. Now to Chris Carter and Mark May bring all the latest news. The Coke Zero halftime report.
Coach, a true freshman quarterback banged up a little bit late in the second half. Will we see more of Michael Birdsong? Can you tell us where you're going to go with that?
Well, you know, Chase Litton, the true freshman, is our quarterback, and he wasn't banged up, and he got hit a couple of times, but Birdsong in there, that was a planned deal in some short yardage situations, but he's going to make a couple better decisions here early on, but he'll be fine.
Defensively, you're holding tight. How do you kind of slow down Sheriffs at that quarterback draw?
Well, we're getting a lot of quarterback runs from them, and we got to do a great job of making sure we get those guys in tackle well. For the most part, we've done that. This game's kind of playing out exactly like I did. They're a great defensive team. I think we're pretty good, too, and it's a low-scoring game like we thought, and we just got to do a good job in the second half of taking care of the football and continue to play great special teams.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Happy holidays. Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Florida, as we get set for the second half of the St. Petersburg Bowl here at Tropicana Field between UConn and Marshall. Defenses ruled the day thus far. Marshall with a 13-7 lead over UConn, but both teams have scored every time they've been in the red zone. Ready to put it in the air to get the second half started. Marshall with, as you mentioned, a pair of field goals in each of their last 2 possessions. Nearly 11 minutes of possession in that span. Remy Watson and DeAndre Reeves back to receive this kick from Bobby Puyol. And no return for Reeves. Let's go back down to the field and check in with Tiffany.
Well, Coach Diaco told me coming out of the locker room that offensively they're moving the ball well. Expect to see a steady dose of Bryant Sheriffs and those quarterback runs here in the second half. He says we just have to have more makeable third downs. And coming out on defense, he says we have to keep the ball in front of us and shore up our tackling a little bit better. He felt like they had a couple of opportunities and maybe had a chance to hold Marshall from scoring before going into the end of the half, but he says we have to wrap up in our tackling.
All right, Tiffany, thanks. And when Tiffany talked with Doc Holliday going into half, he said there was no problem with Chase Litton. He took some hits, but he wasn't injured. Designed package plays to get Michael Birdsong into the game on those quarterback run plays. Nothing doing with Litton. Foley Fatukasi in with the stop.
Fatukasi, one of their best defensive linemen, leads the team in sacks, and you see he's a big guy, but he sheds blocks well. And again, looked like they were trying to go deep on second down, so a little different page here on offense for Marshall to start the second half.
You ever seen that before? A third of the team still in the locker room when the half started?
Nah, that's a little change up. longer speech from the coach, maybe.
yeah, the offensive guys got a longer talk. They knew Marshall would start on offense. Here's DeAndre Reeves with great feet, and he's able to dance his way all the way up to the 46-yard line, gain of 8. This was just moments ago. Look at all the UConn guys coming in with Litton taking the snap, running out of the third base dugout and around the pylons.
Interesting. Look like some big ugly, some linemen coming around the edge there, leading some of the little receivers.
Yeah, one of the big guys must have been blocking the clock in the auxiliary line. Summers third in the country with 7 interceptions this season. He has 5 picks over the last 4 games. On 3rd and 10, they roll Litton left. Fires a strike complete to Reeves. A first down and a few more. Finally brought down by Obi Melifonwu. That's a gain of, call it 17.
Press man-to-man coverage on 3rd down today by UConn, and they have not been able to stay with the inside receiver, DeAndre Reeves, against Hadley in this football game. Gets space.
Well, that guy's good. He wants the ball more, doesn't he? They're playing with house money with Johnson. They've gotten a lot more out of him today than they expected. Stumbled as he took the handoff. And on his 8th carry of the day, after not playing for 3 months, he picks up 3.
And, you know, UConn's defense has done a nice job holding these long drives to field goals. But at the same token, these are a lot of reps, a lot of different routes, a lot of things that Marshall's doing after the snap to tire this defense down. They got to find a way to man up when it comes to 3rd down and get off the field so their offense can get more reps.
Play action. Litton running around. Will take off, and he reaches forward to try and get it past the marker. We'll see where they spot it. It's going to bring up 3rd and a foot.
It's nice to have a quarterback that has escapability to make people miss, get outside the pocket. He's got good speed, awareness. Situational awareness for a true freshman is always low because of minimum reps. Good job there by him to get it close.
3rd down and 1. Johnson, the tailback. Litton stays in out of the shotgun. Stacked box for UConn's defense. Johnson needed to get to the 19. Don't think he made it. Marquise Van, first man there.
Van's a big-time tackler for them. Finally getting in the action. These linebackers haven't been able to make big plays. And again, conservative side here for Marshall with big backs, a big second-string quarterback to run where they've been successful with. They decide to go for another field goal attempt.
So they bring Nick Smith back out. Will it hold up? Distance was there, but wide right. So Marshall with another missed opportunity. The drives have been long and sustained, but the points have been few and far between. That was a 10-play, 31-yard drive that lasted 4.5 minutes.
And, you know, Tom, that wasn't even close. And right now, you got to be thinking, if you're UConn, you got to figure this thing out on offense. And Marshall's giving you a chance, another opportunity to potentially put a drive together. They just don't have anything. To me, you got to start finding your weapons on this football team. One of your impact players, Noel Thomas, has got to find a way to touch the football, number 5. For this offense.
Well, UConn has only run 13 plays since the end of the first quarter. Noel Thomas is top of your screen in man coverage. They're going to run it with Sheriffs. Thomas a blocker here, and he seals the edge, and he creates some space for Sheriffs to rumble for a 15-yard first down.
Yeah, that's a guy buying him right there. You know, Noel Thomas, offensive coordinator, talked about him. Needed to get the ball more, hasn't gotten any touches, hasn't lost focus, and still finds a way to make a key block on the outside. I love that about wide receivers not putting his head down and staying in the game. That's a big start for an offense that really hasn't done much today, Tom.
142 total yards of offense for Connecticut. Akil Newsome returns to the backfield. Sheriffs finds him in the flat. Newsome trying to beat a linebacker, and he makes it past midfield. Devontae Tyler escorted him out in a flag at the end of the play.
They might get a horse collar here.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 51, 15-yard penalty, first down.
10-yard run, 15-yard penalty.
Well, Tyler's just going to chase him down, gets his hand in a bad place. Got to get away from that face mask right in front of the referees. And again, 2 big plays to start, and now the big penalty. Changes field position, advantage UConn.
And net, that's the longest play of the game thus far for UConn at 25 yards. Newsome dragged down after a gain of 2 by Tyler.
For the limited amount of plays this offense has had, Newsome has touched the ball quite a bit for UConn, whether it be jet sweep, the run game, getting outside, and in the pass game. Really is a key cog. Really been the only true weapon this team has on offense today in this football game.
This is only the 16th play run by UConn at the end of the first quarter. Got a minute to go in the third, and across midfield for just a second time today. Sheriffs, a little bit of pressure coming from B, and he gets to him. Ryan B brings down Bryant Sheriffs. First sack of the day for Marshall. It's a loss of 2.
Again, great coverage on the back end, Tom, but to me, when you're a running style quarterback, when you're looking past your second to third read, that third read's got to be the run. He's got to get quicker in his mind, a quicker clock to take off and get what they give you. Big hole on the left side, doesn't quite get there, and ends up taking a sack.
And you wonder if the coaching staff or Sheriffs himself changed his line of thinking after the injury to Houston when he went with a quarterback slide, was taken out of the game, and suffered a concussion. He's been a great running quarterback all season. They bring everybody in the blitz on 3rd and 10 deep ball, and it's batted away. Tremendous play by Rodney Allen, denying Noel Thomas. They brought the house.
We've seen some deep balls today, again, with both of these teams, and we see some good quarterback play. And this, again, very nice job just getting back, seeing the quarterback's eyes, tracking the football, and Allen reaching up and knocking this away, finally trying to get it to Noel Thomas on the outside. Good stop by this Marshall defense.
This would be a 52-yard field goal for Bobby Puyol. His long this season is 45. Off the post and through.
Wow.
That would have been good from 52 3 inches.
Most exciting play we've seen so far in this football game. A ball bounces up and goes through. UConn's excited about it, that's for sure.
For as methodical as this game has been offensively today, both coaches sticking to the game plans. We've got a 3-point game with 2 seconds left in the quarter. Puyol, Florida native out of Dwyer High School, got just enough on this one.
You got to thank the fact that the holder had laces out, because if they were to the side, it might not have made it on that one, Tom. It's a reward for both of these teams to be here. Why not? You usually see some trick plays, some extracurricular things going on, and we haven't seen much of that today, sticking to their guns on both sides of the football.
Field goal off the crossbar. Now an opportunity for DeAndre Reeves from the 2. 13-10 as we head to the 4th quarter in St. Pete. A little bit of everything, including a kick off the crossbar. Sun shining by the bay as we head to the 4th. Back to St. Pete. Tom Hart, Anthony Beck, Tiffany Green. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as we race towards the new year. Great football on all day today on the ESPN family of networks. And an early start here in the Trop. Back to Davis. Davis breaks free. He's got the sideline and a beautiful cutback. Davis into UConn territory. Obi Melifonwu finally tripped him up. It's a gain of 41.
Anytime you get 5 in the box, that's telling your offense to run the football. This is a favorable matchup when your outside linebacker's so far out. Great job by Davis of just making people miss. and using that acceleration. If he didn't fumble his feet there on the sidelines, that might have been a house call, Tom.
That's the longest play of the day for either side. And the longest play of the year for Keon Davis, a redshirt freshman. They stick with him, and he got tripped up. Gain of a yard, maybe. It's been running back by committee, basically, the entire second half of the season for Marshall, and they followed that plan today. They started Hyleek Foster. They got some early carries for Devin Johnson. Tony Pittman was on the field a few times with no carries, and now a steady dose of Keon Davis late.
And the concern is if you turn the ball over, but the one turnover he did have was a deep ball that almost turned into a punt, being that UConn hasn't been able to really bring their offense up and play.
So on 2nd and 9, they go right back to Keon Davis, third consecutive run. Marquise Van in on the stop for UConn. Keon Davis earning a scholarship this quarter. And he'll finally get a breather. Hyleek Foster will replace him at tailback.
Again, getting favorable numbers in the box. Coach Diaco getting his outside linebackers playing wider versus this Marshall attack. They've taken advantage of it with some early runs. Now they find themselves in 3rd down. UConn's got to get off the field here and take a chance.
5 consecutive runs by Keon Davis, including a 41-yarder to set him up. He's on the sideline now. Hyleek Foster in a tailback, 3rd and 6. Here's Foster out of the backfield, stays on his feet, picks up the 1st down. Junior Joseph was the man that he ran by, made a miss.
Junior Joseph does a nice job at tracking this play. He's in position, has to go around his guy, just misses the tackle. Good balance there by Foster. Former wide receiver converted mid-season to play tailback. And again, we're seeing the stable today at the position for Marshall.
Seems like this coaching staff just wants to ride a hot hand and stick with a guy. Keon Davis back in after getting a 1-play breather. Here he is. Took a lick. Able to pick up 3. Andrew Adams came up from his safety spot. So 4.5 to go and the clock rolling. Obviously, Marshall wants a score here of some variety. But it seems like it's just as effective simply to run the clock, even if they turn the ball over at some point.
Yeah, UConn hasn't done anything on offense, and for their defense, they probably they need to get off the field and stop some of these drives. See the missed tackle there, in a position to at least get them off. Now they get a fresh set of downs, playing in the hands of Marshall.
Again, Keon Davis. Wanted him to stay in bounds. Andrew Adams with the stop. He went out of bounds, and we'll try it again. Now looking at 3rd down with 3:49 to go.
3rd down. They've been press coverage across the board on the wide receivers. In place last 3rd down to make a tackle. Missed it. Let's see if they can get a stop here and put some pressure on Marshall's kicking game.
10 of 15 on 3rd down today. This is 3rd and 4. We'll check with the sideline. We'll get some more seconds off the clock. Play clock at 1. They just get it off. Straight ahead, Davis. Oh, my goodness. He almost bursted through again. As it is a 1st down, and he is out of breath.
How does that squeeze through? I mean, this is just a small back following his lead blocker. Yurichek's had an outstanding game today. Not just catching the ball, but blocking right behind him. Gets the 1st down. Huge play.
Got out ahead of his skis and understood that he missed pay dirt for the 2nd time today. Almost had it on that 41-yard run at the beginning of this drive. This is the 10th play of the drive. Play clock at 1 again, and they just get it off. Davis, happy feet dancing through. Badiako uses a timeout. Foley Fatukasi in on the stop of UConn with some of his buddies. 2:39 to go in the 4th. UConn does have a strong kicking game. We saw a 52-yarder earlier. And this is the current drive, but overall 75th play of the day coming up for Marshall. 13 points to show for it. Keon Davis on the draw. First man couldn't bring him down. He picks up a couple. Graham Stewart with the stop for UConn. UConn uses another timeout.
Timeout. UConn. Their third and final timeout. 30-second timeout.
A lot of double-digit win years with Doc Holliday coaching this Marshall team. I talked about it earlier when I said, yeah, congratulations, you had a great year. And he's like, we lost too many games, 3 games. So they're not used to losing more than 1-2 games a season. So they really want to cap it off with another double-digit season with 10 wins.
UConn out of timeouts, 2:34 remaining, 3rd and 6. They mix it up and bring Foster, and he gets dropped, no gain. Andrew Adams, another stop from his safety spot.
Nice play by Andrew Adams. Leader on this team in the back end, leads the team in tackles. So he likes to play in the box, and finally they get a stop, and right now it's going to come down to another kicking opportunity. They're going to run this clock down, though.
32-yard attempt for Nick Smith. He's 2 of 3 today. Distance is good. Accuracy is good. Nick Smith 3 for 4 after having missed 6 of his last 9. Well, one thing Pennington and Litton kind of have in common, Pennington barely recruited out of high school in Knoxville, found his way to Marshall, developed into a great player. Meanwhile, Brian Sheriff's on the other side for UConn, and this UConn offense has a long way to go with 1:44 to go. They've done it primarily on the ground. Sheriff 78 yards on the ground, 67 through the air.
Yeah, spread it out here, okay? Get yourself spread out. Get some guys out of the box, and you can get some of these big runs that he had in this football game. They're going to need a spark from him, eventually from his arm, to complete a pass. The one guy that they have that can do that is Noel Thomas, number 5. But right now, 1-2, if it's not there, try to make a play with your legs. I guarantee you Marshall is going to have a spy on him on this last series.
By our count, Noel Thomas has been targeted only once today. That was on the deep ball. It was knocked away. So empty backfield, out of the shotgun now. 5 wide receivers. Sheriff steps up, pressure coming, and he's able to just get it off in time. First down to Hergy Mayala. First catch for Mayala goes for 15.
That's one of them true freshman wide receivers that we talked about that makes a play for him. That was so close. Sheriffs just get that ball off.
So the last minute and a half could be a doozy here in St. Pete. 5-man rush. Sheriffs couldn't get away that time. UConn out of timeouts. Gary Thompson with the sack. Second sack of the day for Marshall. It's a loss of 3. Clock running.
Right now, Chuck Heater, defensive coordinator for Marshall. He's dialing it up. He's not going to let Sheriffs get away with a pass here with some of this pressure that he's been bringing.
Snap will come with under a minute to go. On 2nd and 13. They go short, and that one's blown up by Keith Baxter. Up to make the play on Tyreek Beals, gain of 4, 3rd and 10.
Again, you got to understand when you're throwing the ball short, you got to get close to the out of bounds. Doesn't give his receiver a chance. Clock continues to run.
UConn out of timeouts, down by 6. Sheriff spun right into trouble, gets away from it, steps up and fires, incomplete. 28 seconds left on the clock. 4th down coming. Aaron McLean was the intended receiver.
Really a heck of an effort to avoid, to get around, to break away from tackles. Marshalls were right there to make the sack. Just couldn't deliver an accurate pass. He's probably tired from all these run plays that he's had in this football game.
So a chance to catch his breath with the game clock stopped. Bryant Sheriff's 10 of 16 for 86 yards today.
I got to think Chuck Heater will bring some pressure here. Force Reeves, Sheriff, to get this ball out of his hand.
Barely got the playoff again. Sheriff's in traffic, lets it go. Sideline incomplete. Marshall stands tall. Coverage by Baxter. And they turn him over on downs.
Really nice play on the outside, and wide receiver had a chance. Underthrown ball. Sheriffs takes a big hit on the throw. Double coverage on the outside. Baxter does a good job, and it was close. Would have been an outstanding catch, but well played, underthrown. Nice defense.
So Marshall will take a knee. They'll find their 10th win of the season. And the Thundering Herd, with 5 consecutive bowl wins and 3 consecutive 10-win seasons for the second time since rejoining the FBS. Gutty effort for Bryant Sheriff's. Bob Diaco's squad will fall to 6 and 7. Don't forget the trophy ceremony coming up live on ESPN3 after the game. Chase Litton celebrating with family and friends back home in Tampa Bay, and the freshman is able to lead Marshall to a 16-10 victory. The defense was a key today for Marshall. They hold the UConn to just 10 points in a 16-10 win. They get us started for the day. Tune in to ESPN3 for live coverage of the post-game trophy ceremony. Now, with plenty more football coming your way, let's take you back to the studio. Chris Carter and Mark May.